Welcome to our /entitled people. Now in today's episode, I'm delighted to say that I have an update for you from a story that was posted 1 year ago. If you've been around on my channel for a while, you may remember this. The thumbnail is up on screen now, but it was actually the third story in that episode. It was all about 3 entitled nephews stealing $200 worth of bottles from their aunt's shed. Now don't worry if you can't remember exactly what happened or you've not watched it before, there is a little recap coming up. But let me just say this, what sounds quite innocent and not too bad, just stealing a little bit of stuff, well, it becomes incredibly serious very quickly, so you're going to want to strap in. Link to the original is down in the description and the pinned comment on whatever platform you're on, but without further ado, spoilers incoming. Here is the update. Update to my nephew stealing cans from my shed. My eldest nephew went mental on my house. To start off with, yes, I did get more cameras. One I installed right above the shed, so it looks like I've got the whole area covered. I want to say that my sister and brother-in-law, as well as my nephews, have learned from this whole ordeal. But that's not entirely the case. Especially for my eldest nephew, who just couldn't let go of wanting revenge on me. And he stupidly tried to get it. Here is what happened. To recap, as you guys know if you've seen the previous episode, my nephew stole a buttload of cans from my shed after breaking into it and cashed them in at the bottle shop for about $200. My sister and brother-in-law acted like I was the jerk for wanting the money back for the cans and damages. I ended up pressing charges because they refused to pay, and things turned pretty ugly. I filed a small claims lawsuit and they had to pay me back for the cost of damages, theft, emotional damages for constant harassment, and the cost of the lawsuit itself, all adding up to $500, which finally made my sister and brother-in-law raise a white flag and actually start parenting their kids. My nephews got all of their privileges taken away and were forced by a judge to work community service, which they hated and had to be forced just to complete. They didn't get more than 100 hours each because I'd been repaid by their parents when we settled out of court. So the judge pretty much fast-tracked the case. My nephews ended up picking up garbage and doing work around several local parks. And the man directing them, I heard, was a retired drill sergeant. So they had no fun whatsoever. My eldest nephew constantly showed his issues with authority and got into screaming matches with everyone who told him to work. His father had to be called over just to make the boy pick up a rake. The kid openly blamed me for his predicament, and his brothers were both initially on his side. But after a while, they realized that he's just crazy and entitled, and they no longer wanted any part of it. So, my 2 younger nephews stopped following his lead as it finally clicked just how in the wrong they were. The problem is that my sister and brother-in-law blamed me for the divide in their family, which didn't end well for them, as nobody in the family was on their side about it. Everything was put on them and their bad parenting. And without me to blame, they just became silent and bitter. Half the family don't want to associate with them, and now their own kids are divided because the eldest refuses to change. It got so bad that my eldest nephew resorted to something so incredibly dumb that you're not going to want to believe it. In the middle of the night, he sneaked out and assaulted my house with a pair of his dad's claw hammers. I say a pair as he literally had one in each hand. The first thing he did was start smashing the new lock on my shed, but it didn't break. However, he heavily damaged it to the point it was no longer usable, and I had to later remove it with bolt cutters. He also did a lot of damage to the shed door with the hammer's claws. I awoke to the sounds of the hammers and called the police after peeking out my bedroom window and seeing someone outside hitting the shed. Though I didn't realize it was him at first because he had his face covered with a creepy looking mask. He saw the bedroom lights come on and chucked one of the hammers through my window. There was broken glass everywhere, and I'm lucky I didn't cut my feet on any of it as I was barefoot. Then my nephew started beating on my back door with the remaining hammer. He did major damage, breaking the knob and the window on the door, and also tore into the door itself with the hammer claw. I was worried the door wouldn't hold out, so I yelled the police were on their way, and he took off before they arrived. The night vision on my cameras showed it was him. He had a mask on, but he was wearing his school hoodie as well as his Nike shoes that were also pretty identifiable since his brothers don't have a pair like them. His fingerprints were also on the hammer that he threw at my window. My nephews had already been fingerprinted when they were arrested the first time, so police matched the ones on the hammer to him. When the cops came for my eldest nephew, he obviously denied it was him, but there's nobody else it could have been. The other hammer was found in his room, along with the clothes and the mask he wore, all of which were taken as evidence. The mask was of a Star Wars character I was told is called the Grand Inquisitor. This time though, his parents did nothing to try and protect him. And they didn't try to blame me either. They just let their son be taken away screaming. I wasn't there to see the arrest, but I was told by my sister that my eldest nephew was switching back and forth from crying that he didn't do anything wrong to screaming that it was all my fault and he had to get back at me. The boy had to go through a serious mental evaluation and was found to be potentially bipolar. Doesn't really excuse what he did though. Later on, when he was properly diagnosed as bipolar, he started blaming everything he did wrong on that, and acted like he should be vilified just for getting treatment for it. But he ended up having a month-long stint in juvenile hall. They got my nephew properly medicated and he pleaded guilty to forego court again in exchange for more community service and mandatory counselling, as well as probation this time. His dad came to my house and personally replaced the broken window and door, though he barely said a word to me while doing it. My two younger nephews are still excluding their older brother from pretty much everything, and he still hasn't apologised for attacking my home either. He's also unfortunately repeating a school year because of how badly his grades tanked, which his parents are still very unhappy about. My two younger nephews dropped by on their own in July to personally apologise to me. They said that they always just followed their brother's lead and he made everything they were doing seem so fun. But the punishments for the crimes are not worth the kind of fun they were having, and they don't want anything to do with it anymore. They want their fun uncle back, and they asked if we could start over. I said we can, but they'll have to earn back my trust, which they happily agreed to. My eldest nephew had his 17th birthday a few months ago and basically got nothing, not even a cake. It was part of his punishment for what he'd done. I can only imagine how much money he's cost his parents in the past year alone. He led his brothers to steal from me and then destroyed my bedroom window and back door. I imagine in total, with the lawsuit that I previously filed and replacing both the door and window, it cost them over $1,000. Doors and windows aren't cheap. Meanwhile, my youngest nephew had his birthday a month after that and got a new mountain bike among his gifts. This really upset my eldest nephew, and he slashed the tires on the bike with a kitchen knife. What? Oh my gosh. This of course landed him in even more trouble. Now, I know a thing or two about fixing bikes, so I went out and bought new tubes and tires for the bike and put them on it, so the bike's fine, and my nephew actually thanked me a lot for fixing it. But wow, this kid is on another level. My eldest nephew resorted to trying to run away because he wasn't being an airwood anymore. He just walked out, got on his bike with a backpack full of stuff, and rode off. His parents quickly reported him missing because he left a goodbye letter that basically blamed me and his bipolar for all his problems. In the letter, he stated that he can't wait till he's 18 to get away from us all. So he was doing us a favor by getting rid of himself sooner. But he came back 3 days later without his bike or backpack and looking beat up. He wouldn't tell anyone what happened and we still don't know, but he was chewed out for continuously using me as a scapegoat for his personal issues because blaming me was the first thing he did after he got back. I didn't make him steal from me. I didn't make him attack my house. I didn't make him run away. That was all him. And he nearly ended up back in juvie for running off because he violated his probation. But he got off easy somehow. Currently, he spends his days pretty much in his room when not in school, or doing chores, or going to counselling. He finished his community service, but his probation will last until he's 18. He's got some lenience for being diagnosed as bipolar, but it couldn't get him off the hook. And believe me, he tried many times. And those sirens you can hear are for him. They're not, but let's just go with it. Nonetheless, once they told him what was wrong with him, it became his excuse for everything. But plenty of people go their whole lives with that same mental condition and never do the kinds of things he did. I've been mending things with my two younger nephews, but I don't want to be around the eldest at all. And the feeling is clearly mutual on his part. I've only seen him once in person in the past few months, and he glared at me with more hate than I've ever seen from anyone before stomping away. He can't paint me as the villain anymore without being called out on it, so there isn't much you can do other than just try and get through this. For the most part, he's totally shut down since school started. I'm told he barely speaks, even at school. My other nephews tell me he's getting laughed at and ostracized, which I don't think is going to help him get better. My sister and brother-in-law are also not on the best terms with me right now as well. But they can't exactly put any blame on me either. They know it was all on them and their bad parenting. I've basically forced them to be more active in their kids' lives, which they should have been doing already. But they complain a lot about being tired from work and then keeping an eye on their kids. So whenever we talk as of late, it's always awkward and forced. They don't come to my house or mine to theirs, but we do see each other at my parents' house, and our mother demands we be civil there, which I have no problem with. My 2 younger nephews have regained most of their privileges. They got their TV and video games back, but my eldest nephew isn't allowed on them at all. I'm told he's got some electronic entertainment in his room, but what kind, I don't know. I just know he spends most of his time in there unless he has to be somewhere else. My eldest nephew is also not welcome pretty much anywhere in the family anymore. I've recently heard from my parents that they don't even want to see him on Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve this year because they are sick of his behaviour and petty thievery. I guess I can understand that, but even I feel it's a bit harsh. My sister and brother-in-law do as well because they're threatening to boycott if he can't come to either holiday. Now look, I can't stand that kid and I would not want him in my house either, so I can understand why they've made that decision. But I don't think excluding him from everything and everyone is going to make him better. It's going to take a long time for my eldest nephew to mend bridges, if they can even be mended at all. The way things stand, he may try running off again once he's of age, unless the last time scared him too much to try it again. But hopefully things will get better for him in time if it's not too late to fix his behaviour. I may not like him, but he's still my nephew and I care. But I'm kind of powerless to do anything. So for now, the most I can do is just keep my nose out of it and offer support where I can. You know what, OP? I completely agree. Not just because it rhymes, but also because it is true. There's a limit, isn't there? Like, you have to punish somebody, no matter their age, realistically, especially at that age, for doing crazy stuff like this that is illegal and just downright terrible and, let's be honest, life-threatening. I mean, chucking a hammer through someone's window. What are you doing? However, you are right, and I agree with you that there are levels to this. How long do you go on punishing someone for their mistakes? And at what stage do you say, you know what, no, this is not working at all. The same things are happening again and again. This kid is getting more and more isolated from society. No one wants someone to say, yeah, I'm running off, forget about me. It's better if I wasn't here, do they? Because we're getting into dangerous territory there, let's be completely honest. So we need to start helping him. Now, I agree. There is no use in isolating him entirely. You need to accept that, okay, this kid's got problems, clearly, but a lot of them are down to his bipolar. That is just a fact. Yeah, I'm sure he has personality issues as well, but there's no need to exacerbate them. For me, it feels like we're getting close to that stage with this dude that, yeah, you need to embrace him with open arms and just say, look, you're a troubled kid, but we're here to help. We are your family. No matter what you've done before, we're going to get through this together and we'll see improvements in all of our lives and relationships together. Let me know though, guys, because obviously, like, he's done some pretty terrible things. So maybe you disagree with me. Maybe I'm being too lenient. I'm interested in your thoughts. Get in the comments down below. And once again, if you haven't yet seen part 1, the original, go and listen, watch that right now if you haven't done already, because that will give more context to this story and will inform your opinion. All right then, let's get into the final story of today's episode. Entitled Jerk at the Supermarket Tried to Take My Rewards Points. This happened yesterday after I got off work, and I'm rather peeved about it. I just went into my local supermarket to buy some quick groceries before going home and making dinner. I didn't have that much stuff, so I went for the self-checkout since it's generally faster. I was tired and just going through the motions, but after scanning a couple of my items, someone suddenly swung their store card over my scanner. It was some guy I've never met before, and he was scanning his own groceries like it was nothing. I asked him what the heck he thought he was doing when he scanned his card at my till. He just tried to ignore me, but I got louder. So he finally just said that he needed the rewards points for the gas station. I countered this by saying, "You think I don't? I own 2 vehicles." The guy tried to go back to ignoring me, so I called for an employee to void my transaction so that I could start over using my own card. That's when the jerk finally stopped what he was doing to yell at me. He pointed out how I was wearing a suit and probably had a well-paying job, so I didn't need to have to worry about money for gas, and he needed the points more than me. I told him it didn't matter what he thought. He doesn't know me, we're not friends, and I use my rewards points for fuel. Nor is he entitled to them from my purchases. Finally, an employee showed up to stop the fighting, but the jerk tried to say to her that I was taking his rewards points. I pointed out that I couldn't be taking his points when they're at my dang till, and he scanned his own card at my till before I could scan mine. The jerk kept trying to talk over me as I said all of that too. The timid girl working at the self-checkout basically took off and called for a manager's help. I stood and waited, and the jerk kept glaring at me the entire time. Well, the manager showed up, and the jerk tried repeating the same nonsense, but the manager made him shut up while he was talking to me. And when I explained what happened, the manager voided my scans and let me start over. And I made sure to scan my own card right away this time. Then the manager gave the jerk an earful and told the guy that he better not do that ever again, or he'd be banning him from the store for 6 months. The jerk went a bit white, then red, as he took his groceries and stomped out the door. And I mean the kind of stomping you see an angry kid do. The manager apologized to me and said this sort of thing happens more often than you think. I really hope I don't encounter that jerk again. I was half expecting to see him waiting for me in the parking lot or something, but thankfully he was long gone. Now guys, you might be thinking that this isn't necessarily too serious. You know, he's not actually stealing any products from you. You're still getting your shopping, etc, etc. It's just points. But when points directly correlate to actual pounds or, you know, money, then that is the equivalent of stealing. In fact, it is stealing. Just as simple as that. He's stealing gas money from you, which is illegal, and therefore the police should have been called. Now look, I get it from the manager's perspective. He probably didn't want to go through the hassle of getting the police involved. But in reality, this dude is breaking the law. Although I do admit, I'm not entirely sure how the law works around this sort of theft, but it is theft nonetheless. And therefore, I would have loved to see what would have happened if the police had come. Now guys, before I end today's episode, first of all, I owe you some shout outs. If you didn't know, I'm running the London Marathon on the 23rd of April, and as it stands, that is in 12 days. Now that is pretty daunting, I will say, but I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. Now, I am raising money for a charity called Kids, which helps all disabled children, no matter their disability, to have a better life. Pretty crazy charity, right? What a thing to do. As you can see, if you are watching on YouTube, we have now raised £4,285. The goal is 5k. We're so close now. Anything you can donate would be very much appreciated. Link to do so on any platform is down in the description. And if you do donate, no matter how much, you get a shout out like these people. Daria, one of my patrons. Run, Jack, run. Absolute legend. Daria, thank you so much. Sus Umi God add. Hi, Jack. I'm back. Sorry for the low donation. I'm saving up for my friend who is really into animation so I can get him some animation stuff. I'm into animation too, and I'm making my own short film. Is animation more important than kids? That's my question. Disabled? Children? Where are your priorities, my friend? That is a joke, of course. Thank you very much for the donation, and yeah, good luck with the animation. Cadence Tolly, as a 14-year-old who recently won their battle with cancer, I know how it feels to need someone to lean on. This is all I have, but it's something. I hope they have happy and fulfilling lives. That is a nuts donation, I've got to say. Jesus, right in the feels there. Cadence, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. What a legend. Lola Hall, thank you from the kids and those who love them, Jack. Hugs from a mum, retired nurse, and former kid. You know what's crazy? I'm actually yet to meet an adult who isn't a former kid. I don't know what it is about that, but there you go. $25 from Carlotta or Lola. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Ben Bessemer, keep it up, Jack. You're an inspiration doing all of this for this wonderful organization. Hopefully this donation from a low to moderate autistic 26-year-old goes some way to getting you to that goal. £10, Ben, it absolutely does. Thank you ever so much. Alex is being tested and has disabled family members. This seems an appropriate donation, and I've been listening since before Spotify. I don't have a lot, so I hope this helps. Alex, legend, thank you very much. Okay, now this is an interesting name. Queen of Flatulence. Just thought it'd be fun. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for the donation, and I would love to know if that is your real official title. Connie, sorry it's not more, but I live on a fixed income and that's all I can send. No worries, as I always say, it doesn't matter the amount. Any donation is just fantastic. Thank you for all you do. Help me keep going. Love the videos. All you do for everyone you help. Thank you, Jack. No worries, Connie. Thank you for the donation. Nichelle is back once more. I wish you luck on your run in the coming weeks. Keep up the great work, and you are amazing. Nichelle, you're amazing, and so is everyone who has donated so far. Guys, as I said, so close now to the ultimate goal of 5k. Remember, if we hit it, I'm back in the Karen attire for a full 20-minute video. Who wants to see that? Just me? Okay, well, maybe I'll just do it in my own time and I won't record it. That is up to you guys. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want more right away, well, check out part 1 on screen over here. If you are new to the channel and you haven't already done so, like the episode, follow me, subscribe, donate as well. Link is down below in the pinned comment and in the description. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow with a brand new Reddit story.